Good evening, friends. This is Pankaj Kumar. Today I am with you all with the series of period in history of English literature. So today this is the first class. It is the first videos in the history of English literature by Pankaj Kumar. Today I would like to discuss some outline of different periods in the history of English literature. So I hope this video will be very useful, beneficial for all of us, right? So let's begin without talking more. This beautiful video that imparts you a very complete knowledge in this outline. So first of all, we will discuss Old English period. Old English or Anglo-Saxon period, right? We can call Old English period or Anglo-Saxon period. The time mentioned here 450 to 1066. The duration of Old English period or Anglo-Saxon period is 450 to 1066. Okay. So now we will know the key features. First of all, what is the key features of Old English period, right? Important things, key features we just see here: oral tradition, the tradition that is orally mentioned there, oral, not in written, right? Oral tradition was present there. Heroic and religious themes were also present. All the theme, all the literature or whatever plays or something were seen there. Any texts were seen there that were heroic and religious theme, based on the heroic and religious themes. Okay, all the tales were mentioned in the heroic or religious themes, oral tradition. And notable works of that period, Old English period, is Beowulf, the Wanderer, the Seafarer. Okay, these are the notable works. Okay, we will know the authors of Anglo-Saxon period. So about author, if you know, there are some unknown poets also, right, of the Beowulf. Okay, because who is the writer of the Beowulf is not, that is not definite one. And we will know more someone, Cadmans, also some authors, Cadmans, Cinewolf, right? So they are the authors of Anglo-Saxon period. Now we will know Middle English period. So Middle English period that begins 1066, means ending Anglo-Saxon period 1066 with the Norman conquest. Okay, in the and defeating the Harold, right? So 1066 Middle English periods start with 106 to 1500, right? So, or we see the key features of Middle English period. Transition from Old English period. We have just seen the transition. There's something transfer, right? Migration from Old English period, and we see development of Middle English dialects. So old dialects were renewed, and in Middle English period, a new dialects, so that is, Middle English dialects were started by the people. We can also see there courtly love. Okay, we also see religious and moral themes were also presented in Middle English period. Now, notable works. What are the notable works? Notable composition were there: Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, William Langland's Piers Plowman, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. All these are the notable works of Middle English period. Now we will see authors of Middle English period. Who are the author there? Important author: Geoffrey Chaucer, William Langland, the Pearl Poet, and John Gower, right? They are the notable or important authors of Middle English period. Now we will know the Renaissance. The Renaissance. So Renaissance period starts with 1500 to 1660. Okay, so these Renaissance are divided into sub periods. What are they? Number one is early Tudor period. early Tudor periods. Renaissance were having effect on three different periods. Okay, different periods like early Tudor period, Elizabethan age, Jacobean age. It covers also Carolingian age and Commonwealth period. Right, all these different ages are covered. Right, dominated by Renaissance. Right. Renaissance were prevailing in different periods. So first we'll talk early Tudor period. Early Tudor period's timeline is 1500 to 1558. Okay, you can see. so early Tudor period is starting with 1500 to 1558. And in this period we see religious writing were done there. Beginning of humanism, based on the means personal treatment, individualism, okay, emotions, right, feelings of the particular people, right. All these were the features of important points of early Tudor periods. Now we will know shortly Elizabethan period. So in Elizabethan period, Elizabethan age is starting with 1558 to 1603. Okay, in the or some historian also write around some period 1550 to 1660, right? That is mentioned in some ways as William J. Long, or somewhere it is also mentioned there. So Elizabethan age is particular age is called age starting with the 1550 to 1603. And in this Elizabethan age, we find flourishing of drama and poetry. Drama was immensely produced there, and along with poetry. Okay. Next we see. Next we see Jacobean age. So what is in Jacobean age? Jacobean age we see Jacobean age starting with 1603 after ending Elizabethan age 1603 to 1625. This period is known as Jacobean age. It is famous for the Jacob, right? James first. And the James first of England was the James sixth of Scotland, right? We will know it later in detail. So we see in Jacobean age darker themes there, right? Metaphysical poetries were also renovated there, were being used there. Metaphysical poetry in Jacobean age, right? We see next, our next thing is Carolingian age. So Carolingian age, that is starting with 1625 after Jacobean age. These ages are in sequel in the series given there. So 1625 to 1649. Now we see Carolingian age. Carolingian age is starting 1625 after Jacobean age to 1649. This age is known as Carolingian age. So in this Carolingian age, we see cavalier poets, the poets who were supporting the kings, and we also see religious prose were also written there, were also immensely used there in Carolingian age. Next, we see the last period, Commonwealth period of the Renaissance, 1649 to 1660. That it means 11th years old age, the age of 11th years. Okay, in Commonwealth period, we find second king starts reigning again. Okay, that is Charles II. So Commonwealth starts with that period, and in this period, we see political and religious writing can be seen. Now we are talking about key features, right? Key features of that is Renaissance. Revival of classical learning in the Renaissance. What were being done there? right? What was the importance for the that is Renaissance in the history of English literature? So revival, rebirth of classical learning. Classical meaning that is traditional learning, right? So that was also revived. Humanism was revived. Experimentation in forms, right? All these are the main best feature of Renaissance. Now we see notable works and authors. What are notable works and authors here? Elizabethan. In the age of Elizabethan age, we find authors William Shakespeare. Elizabethan is also known as age of William Shakespeare or Golden Age. Shakespeare's work is important work is Hamlet, Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, Edmund Spenser was a great poet in the Elizabethan age. He had written The Fairy Queen. Okay, all these things we will know in detail with explanation. Now we see famous authors of Jacobean age. So Ben Jonson, John Donne. John Donne is famous for metaphysical poetry also. And Carolean or in Commonwealth period, we see the authors John Milton. And John Milton is known all over the world because of his great writing, 10 books, Paradise Lost. And we see also other authors, Andrew Marvell, and he has his important poem to his coy mistress. Now, we see the restoration. After Renaissance, we see restoration. The restoration, restore again. What was the restoration here? Restoration started 1662 and it was prevailing, it was continuing 1700, 40 years. Restoration was highly popular there, right? All things were restored there. So the key features of restoration is satire was seen there, wit, comedy of manner, heroic dramas were the main chief features. And notable works we can see here in Restoration age, that is John Dryden's Absalom and Achitophel, Williams Congreve's The Way of the World, right? And the author John Dryden, Afrabehan, William Rickerly, right? So now after restorations, our period is in sequence 18th century. 18th century starts. So 18th century begins with 1700 to 1800 is called 18th century. If it is starting with 1800s to 1900, it is called 19th century, right? So the 18th century feature we see divided into two phases. 18th century is divided into two phases. Augustan age, that is starting with 1700 to 1745, and the main important points there: satire, regions, right, neoclassicism, all were seen there. Number B, age of sensibility, right? We see Augustan age, then after age of sensibility, that's starting with 1745 to 1785. In this age of sensibility, we see the important outline there: sentimentalism, mentalism, pre-romanticism starting in the age of sensibility. Now, key features of the 18th century is prose development was going there, satire was developing, emergence of the novels came into the existence, right? And notable or famous works of 18th century: Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, Alexander Pope's The Eye of the Look, Samuel Richardson Pamela's, Henry Fielding's Tom Jones. They are the notable works of 18th century. Now we see authors of 18th century: Jonathan Swift, Alexander Pope, Samuel Johnson, and Lawrence Stearns, right? They are the notable authors of 18th century. Now we find the Romantic period. Romantic period. What was the Romantic period? Romantic period is starting with the date 1785 1785 to 1832, but we see somewhere it is some dates are also mentioned there, 1798 to 1837, but this is the round figure 1785 to 1832. It is also described by or given the given these dated, it was dated by some also famous writers, historians in different ways. This is the round figure date, or we see this timeline has also logic of starting romantic period. So key features of romantic periods are emphasis on emotion. Romantic periods showing emotion. Okay, all the works were written on emotion, to see the emotion towards love of natures, right? Natures why the given the first importance, emotion why the given importance, imagination was spreading among people, right? Individualism means particular person in about individual, about the person's their own feelings, right? So all these emotion, nature, imagination, individualism, these are the most important features of romantic period of romantic age in the history of English literature. So who are the famous works? What are the famous works? William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge collaborated, both the writers collaborations, lyrical ballads. Okay, lyrical ballads were used by the were written, composed by William Wordsworth and the Samuel Taylor Coleridge in a collaboration. So we will know it later in the next videos, detail about William Wordsworth, their contribution, what were the contribution, how many works were given, one written, one ballads, lyrical ballads, and how many contribution were given by S.T. Coleridge. We will see one by one there. And all famous authors of romantic period is William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, John Keats. Now, we will know after romantic period, the Victorian period take place. So, 1837, the date of the Victorian period is 1837 to 1901, right? Key feature of Victorian period: realism, moral responsibility, or industrialization. These are the key important features, as you can say, theme of the Victorian period. Notable works were Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, Charles Bronte's Jane Eyre, George Eliot Middlemarch. These are the notable works. And the notable authors of this period: Charles Dickens, George Eliot, Thomas Hardy, Alfred Lord Tennyson, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, right? They are the notable famous authors of Victorian period. Now, we will know modern period. The modern period's time span is 1901 to 1945. This is called modern period of this new era, right? So, key features or important features of modern periods can be seen here: experimental forms, disillusionments were also seen there, existentialism, right? About talking about existence. Now, notable works of the modern period are James Joyce, Ulysses, Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land. These are the notable works of modern period. Authors of the modern periods are Virginia Woolf, T.S. Eliot, James Joyce, W.B. Yeats, D.H. Lawrence, right? Now we see the period, next one or the last one, the postmodern period. The postmodern period is dated 1945 to till date, to the present time. Okay, this is called postmodern period. So the postmodern period has also its feature: fragmentation, that means separations, metafiction, multiculturalism, global perspectives. These are the key features of postmodern period. Notable works of postmodern periods can be seen: Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children, Margaret Atwood's Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, writes, and the famous author of postmodern periods are here. Salman Rushdie, Margaret Atwood, Kazuo Ishiguro, or Ian M.C. Iwan. These are the modern. These are the famous writer of this period. So, dear friends, these are the things that today I explained here in a very short way, in very in a outline, given the outline of the history of English literature. I think this is the basic thing. This is the ABCD of each and every learner of literature in English. I hope this video will be very useful for the students who are preparing for academic examination, or those who are preparing for the that is, we can say, competitive examination in different boards. Thank you for this cooperation and helping me to reach this video to more and more people.